Well, let's start with the stated goal of the Israeli military from the beginning of this war, which has been eliminate Hamas, plain and simple. And so if you look at the weeks that we've seen of relentless airstrikes, of heavy street fighting between the soldiers and the Hamas militants, leveling entire areas of the Gaza Strip, the result for now is that that goal, at least, has not been achieved yet. The situation, according to the Israelis themselves, they estimate that they've killed about 5,000 Hamas militants, including just recently they've said that they believe they have killed at least 5 leading figures of Hamas's military wing. Hamas has only confirmed 3 of them, but there's still an estimated 30,000 members of the military wing of Hamas operating in Gaza. So that's nowhere near eliminating the group. And then if you look at the situation on the ground, the Israelis say that they control most of the Gaza Strip, but the concrete examples show that that's not completely the case. You saw, for example, one of the last releases of hostages. The Hamas decided to do that in the heart of Gaza City to show in a way to the world they might control some of the north of Gaza, but they don't control Gaza City because we're still able to operate there. We've seen the images of the intense fighting in Han Yunis, street fighting between militants and a soldier. Still rockets being fired from Gaza into Israel, even though the number of rockets has heavily declined since the start of the war. And finally, there was that Hamas attack that was Hamas claiming that attack in Jerusalem just recently. So there is pressure on the government to get more results, and there's increased pressure from hostages that were freed, from the families of those who are still detained, at least 136. Very tense discussions that were leaked recently between those families and the prime minister. Those families insisting that the war is one thing, but they want to get results. They want to get those people out. And there were very tense conversations. One hostage that was freed saying that they don't know what they're doing, basically. You have no information, she was telling the prime minister, accusing the Israeli army of bombing areas where they, the hostages, were being held, going into confirming, in a way, some of what Hamas has said, because Hamas has claimed that some of the hostages could maybe have died in one of the strikes by the military, by the Israeli military. So you're seeing that this whole situation, for now, is far from being a real success for the Israelis.
And the strikes that you were mentioning, Kethevane, of course, making the already dire humanitarian situation in Gaza even worse over the past 2 months.
Absolutely. The estimates from the Hamas-led health ministry in Gaza, 16,000 at least killed since the start of the war. Even if you take out the 5,000 Hamas militants, that's still more than 11,000 people, including a lot of women and children. And there was this very controversial comment by one of the IDF spokespersons who said that it was a very positive ratio, that they believed this was a success to have the ratio of 1 dead Hamas militant for 2 dead civilians, saying that it's never been done before, basically, and he had to walk back that a little bit. Then you have those who have survived so far, but who have been displaced. The estimate by the UN is that at least 1.8 million people have been internally displaced. That's about 80% of the population. And of course, the idea is that first, they were told to leave the north to go to the south because they would be safe there. Now the Israelis are targeting the south. And so you have this feeling of more and more people being squeezed into more and more smaller spaces in the south of Gaza. Israel saying that there are safe places, people on the ground saying there's no such thing right now as a safe space in Gaza. And you have the humanitarian aid coming in during the truce, drop in the ocean, given the situation, still lack of food, lack of water, lack of electricity, lack of medical supplies, hospitals overcrowded and sometimes targeted themselves. And this has brought the international community really to up and raise the criticism, even the number one ally of Israel, the United States, and even the usually very tempered and even United Nations, the Secretary General, really upping the ante when it comes to criticizing how Israel is carrying this war.
Absolutely. Kethevane, thank you for that analysis. Kethevane Gorjestani.